All right, today's Thursday, October 8th, 2020, and we put in about 10 man hours on this thing. So what we did was we got the quarters all grinded down. Just need a little bit of, maybe a little bit of dent pulling, but not much. I got it down all the way so it doesn't fall off. But they're grinded down all the way. We put the gas tank straps on, plug welded those in place. We welded on the center trunk pan, so we had to get it back on the frame to make sure that went in the right spot. Put the trunk latch on because it didn't have one. Put the bump stops on. We split the quarter panel right here. It's not done yet, but banged it out to fix that gap. And we hammered this up from the bottom to fix the valley. It's still there a little bit. It needs a little more work. Looks 10 times better already. This gap's pretty good. So tomorrow we're gonna do the same thing. We've got to address this wheel well, and that's all left on the welding as far as the shell. So tomorrow we're gonna address that. Probably take the trunk off, start getting the quarters down to bare metal, and then the plan is for Saturday to have this thing in bare metal from the quarters back and in epoxy. I want to see what all we got. This thing had a lot of filler because this whole area was low right here, big low spot, so it had a lot of filler. As you can see, it's not a lot, but it has more than it needed. Really only in that area. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing down here, very little, but it was real heavy right here, so I'm imagining there's a dent right here. So we're going to take this whole thing down to bare metal and see what we got, pull some dents out, and get it in epoxy. That's the plan for this end of day Saturday. So we'll bring you guys back tomorrow once we get a couple more hours in. Stay tuned. All right, today's Friday, October 9th, 2020. It's about 3 o'clock. We put in about 10 man hours on this thing today. So we patched up that wheel well, and we finished up some work inside the trunk, and then we took this thing down to bare metal on the quarters, the rockers. So all the welding work is done, and we got it at bare metal. And it's not terrible, but man, this entire thing was skim coated, not even skim coated. I would say it was covered in some sort of body filler. The entire car, the entire thing, even the trunk gutters, which there's still little remnants. I don't know why. I don't know why anybody would put that much, because a lot of the material it didn't even need. This top section's pretty nice. So what we used was these blue spongy things. I'll show you how they're outside on an angle grinder. And after that, I went with an electric sander with 80 grit, and we're about to coat it with 2 full coats of SPI epoxy. So this area right here, actually, once we took all the filler off around it, it's really not that bad. It looked a lot worse, but this thing just had so much body filler, it was unbelievable. So got the top rack out. So this car is completely gutted now. The only thing left is the brake pedal assembly and trunk hinges. So really glad we took it down to bare metal. We were debating on it, but I said, man, this guy, it's a nice car, and he wants it done, good job on it. So took it down to bare metal. We're gonna do it 2 coats epoxy, some filler or some dent pull work. Right now we have to put in the epoxy because where I live is very humid, and if I don't get this thing coated in 2 days, it'll start flash rusting. So we're gonna get it coated. I'm gonna do some dent pool work, filler work on top of the epoxy, then poly primer, block away a few times, 2K primer, and the process from there. Right now, we just want to get this thing coated and protected. We made arrangements. We're going to have a mobile sandblaster come out next weekend. It's going to be sandblasting underneath the car, inside the trunk, the tub, the floors, up under the dash. And then we're going to coat that in epoxy also, and then Raptor. So this thing is going to be bulletproof once it's done. So we're going to start mixing it up, let it induce, bring you guys back once we get it coated.
What are we looking at here, Kenneth?
Gallon of the gray SPI epoxy. We got the activator here. Stuff mixes 1-to-1. And we got a gallon of 2K high build from them also. And some leftover materials that we had that we're going to be using on this car. This epoxy, man, this stuff is... The only other epoxy I've used before was Shopline black, and it was not sandable. It gums up the paper no matter your grit. But this stuff is 100% sandable. As you can see right here on the door jamb, we hit that right there with 180, so it has something so the overspray has something to bite to. Completely sandable. It turns to dust. It doesn't gum up your paper at all. It also has like a sheen to it.
Yeah.
It's almost, I wouldn't quite say it's glossy, but it's more than semi-gloss. So you really see what you're working with after once you spray it. Mixes 1-to-1, like I say. You get the gallon kit. It's free shipping, and I'm not being paid to say any of this. But the gallon kit makes 2 sprayables, about $200. Spray on top of bare metal. And you can also reduce it and use it as a sealer before base coat.
So how do you prep the metal before you spray it?
80 grit. 80 grit or more coarse. Some guys, I mean, I've read where they also have a website, a forum you can go on, kind of like lay it low days. Some guys prep it with 36 grit or 40 grit, somewhere in there. So this is prepped with 80 grit. Well, we use those discs. Did you already put them up?
I did.
Yeah. Those sponge discs, blue sponge discs, we use that, and then we went over with 80 grit to scratch it up.
Everything prepped down to bare metal?
Yep. So we're gonna go 2 heavy coats, or 2 full coats, I should say, not heavy, but 2 full coats unreduced, and then filler work on top of that. This stuff is it's waterproof. It's not water resistant. It's waterproof. So when you spray water on it, it rolls off like a duck. It's not like 2K primer. 2K primer will absorb, or whatever. But this stuff is waterproof, man. It's really good stuff. Try it out.
And this high build primer is also from them?
Yeah, it's good stuff too. I like the way it sands. I like it better than Tamco. I like Tamco. I like this better. This is more expensive. Tamco's cheaper. Probably $35 cheaper for a gallon kit, so this is $35 more expensive than Tamco. But it sands like butter, and man, it's really good stuff. We'll be doing some videos on that. I believe the owner of this car, he wants to go black, so I'm going to be using some SPI black base and some SPI clear. We're going to do the whole car SPI.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't heard of them. Most people go like DuPont or PPG or Burlow, or are you recording me? So these guys, it's mail order. They have jobbers around, but there's no jobbers in the Houston area. So it's all mail order, and FedEx, free shipping, or UPS takes like 3 days to get to your house. A lot of stuff's not sold in California, but they do offer products that are available in California. Really good stuff, man. You guys should check it out. I mean, I've read and I've known people that have sandblasted a frame and then sprayed SPI epoxy, and the frame sits outside for 5 years, and it looks the same as day one. That's sitting outside. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's like powder coat.
It's better than powder coat. It's better than powder coat. Good stuff. So anyways, we're gonna mix this up. You gotta mix it up 1 to 1. You let it induce for about half an hour, I guess, so the chemicals can jive together, and then pour it in your gun and pull the trigger. So we'll bring you guys back once it's coated. All right, so here we are. We got it covered in 2 coats. We mixed up 40 ounces and we spent about 38 of them. So this thing is protected now. It's not going to rust. It's guaranteed. It's basically like sprayable glue. So that was today's goal, was to get this thing coated and see what exactly we're working with. Got a little bit funky going on right here. This section right here is really nice. The tops are really nice. I don't know why they had so much filler on them. The whole car was skimmed in filler, like I said earlier. This section right here, this transition's really nice. Of course, that's the section we didn't work, so it's a little wavy. This thing right here, we didn't do that. We did this. That's a huge dent. I don't know why they didn't pull that out. You can access it from the back, super easy. So whatever, I don't know who spread the filler, but all that was filled with filler when it could have been pulled out and hammered out. So we got the rockers. I think some brass or something going on right there. The MIG wouldn't stick to it. Rockers are good. Firewall's good. Dash is good. Door jams are ready. Pushed the wrong button, so I had to bring y'all back. This section right here is really nice until you get to about right here. I'm not sure the camera's going to pick it up, but it's got something funky going on here and something here. This is the area right here. This was previously welded. I believe they replaced the trunk gutter. And then the gap wasn't that great, so we split it, hammered it back, so the trunk gap was good. So we lined the trunk up before we took it off. So this is the first step. Tomorrow, we're gonna start spreading filler. With this epoxy, you can spread filler right on top of it. We're gonna do some hammer and dolly work, some stud welder, some dent puller work, and some rage. I got about 3/4 of a gallon of it, so I got plenty. So this is the first step. So what we plan on doing is and do the filler work on top of the epoxy. If we have any breakthrough, we're going to spray more epoxy on the bare metal. And then filler work, blocking, and then some poly primer, probably super build on the shell, block it, and then 2K, and the whole process begins. But overall, it has its bumps and bruises, but it's really not bad. This side is much better than the passenger side. So I'm looking forward to blocking it down. I like the 180 stage. So hope you guys enjoyed the video here. It's going to conclude this video. Like I said, I'll probably be making another one next weekend when the sandblaster comes out. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.